And so we want to be magnificent manifestors and marvelous miracle workers and mega magical light workers. We want to be able to send out healer power. We want to be uh, wonderful healers, powerful healers. We want to be powerful creators and powerful healers this morning. And so let's get in that river of omnipotence. Let us realize the significance of it. Let us realize the implications of it. Let us get in the flow of it. Let it flow out of us. Let us get in that river of omnipotence and omniscience and all knowing, all present, and all powerful being that is the supreme being, that is that infinite mind which flows in us, that is our source, that is our God, that is all things to us, and we are all, and is all things to us, and we can get in it all this morning. Let's get in it all this morning, because we've got this new age is going on. This new age is moving. This new age is barreling forward, and the new earth is beginning to be birthed. We're seeing the birth pangs of that new earth now, and we're seeing some of the light workers and some of the miracle workers and some of the healers and some of the manifestors moving into it and beginning to pour out their love and understanding upon this world, begin to pour out their expanded consciousness upon this world. So let us all begin to join in. Let us all begin to join in with power and strength, and let us know where that power and strength comes from. We know where that power and strength comes from. We get into meditation upon the power and the authority that we have within us now, the healing power that's not out there somewhere, the healing power that's not up there somewhere, down there somewhere, over there somewhere, but the healing power of God which is right within us, within our mind, within our heart, within our soul, closer than consciousness, closer than our ability to breathe, closer than our ability to circulate our blood, closer than our ability to think, closer than our consciousness, is that infinite power, that infinite healing power, only awaiting upon this consciousness that we have, which has so far been a little bit limited, to begin to unlimit itself and raise itself up and begin to receive what is already there and begin to flow what is already there and beginning to teach what is already there and beginning to heal people like they've never been healed before. Let us begin to move out of that healing power. Let us get that leadership going now. We know where to get the leadership from. I just told you where you get the leadership power from. I just told you where you get your manifesting power from, where you get your abundance power from. It's in that river that flows and is already present right there within you and ready to flow out. And all you have to do is come to the understanding of it and let it flow. And out of your innermost being will flow infinite rivers of healing power, infinite rivers of healing manifesting power, infinite rivers of miracle working power, infinite light and power. And you'll begin to raise yourself up into a place of where you can shed more light and where you can shed more power and where the light will begin to flow out of you and radiate from you with such strength that people will be changed, that people will be healed, that they'll be lifted up and raised up, and they'll have their consciousness raised, they'll have their awareness raised. Let us get in that this morning. And one of the most marvelous effective light workers and healers today is Tanya Love, and I'm going to listen to her here in just a minute. Boy, she's got a great program this morning for us. She's going to be talking about the ego a little bit again, but she's going to be talking about the Celestine prophecy this morning. She's going to be bringing out up some stuff about what the Celestine prophecy told us, that book by Redfield, and then she's going to be telling us about clearing our ego energy to make way for these things which were told us in the Celestine prophecy to begin to happen. Clearing out that ego energy so that the true energy can flow. You know, that ego energy is that limited energy. That's what we got to do. Clear out that limited thinking energy. That's that old subconscious mind. We got to learn to clear, and that's what she does with her art clearing. She clears that subconscious of all those things that have been rooted in it, that come from limited thinking, and they come with false belief, that come from superstition, and we don't know what all those things are till we begin to stop and begin to meditate and think upon it. And she gives people these treatments in her workshops where she discovers all of those things and does regression and all other kinds of different methods that she has. I don't know all of them, but she begins to discover what is holding them back and what is preventing their manifestation and preventing them from being healed and preventing them from thinking in a less limited way by getting in there and finding out what's in that subconscious mind that shouldn't be there and teaching them how to get rid of that and teaching them how to get in the river and teach them to get into the real source and to get in line with the real power. And then they can begin to flow that energy and they can begin, things will begin to change miraculously for them because they've got all that stuff out of the way that is preventing it. And that's all in the world this whole thing is about, is that we have been taught and we have false beliefs and superstitions that are performed a barrier from us being able to flow the real life out of us and the real power out of us and accomplish the real things which we need to accomplish in our life. And that's the whole thing is just about getting rid of those things. It's not really about adding anything. It's just about getting rid of things, getting rid of false things, and then so that the real thing that's already within you can operate and flow out. Because the source, our source, infinite mind, God, is already there within you, but he's being prevented from flowing. Our source is being prevented from flowing out like it should be because of our limited thinking. And so, and because of those things which we've allowed to take seat in our subconscious mind, which need to be weeded out. And so I'm going to let her to get started on her performing her miracle working power this morning and raising my frequency this morning and giving me a little more strength this morning. I'm going to turn her loose and let her begin to do her light working and begin to do her manifesting and begin to do her marvelous miracle working and healing on me this morning. As I begin to listen, I'm going to take note and I'm going to begin to meditate upon it and I'm going to begin to think about it and I'm going to begin to let it work and then I'm going to begin to let it flow. And so I'm going to see what she has this morning and just see how much more she can do for me this morning. Dr. Tanya, I'm going to let Dr. Tanya work on me and work on my mind this morning and begin to perform her great miracle working power that she always does and see how marvelous it can be this morning. We're going to And I know she's ready to go, so you can tell she's always ready to go there on her program. And she's got herself all geared up and ready to go this morning. Now, this program this morning, it's, well, I told you what it was about. It was about the Celestine prophecy, clearing ego energy and beginning to get the real energy flowing. And there was nothing put on the title, but the way you find it is just the way you find this particular program here is just you just search for Tanya Love 031714 St. Patrick's Day 14, and that'll get you right there, and you don't have to have any other title. But what it's about is us getting rid of the false energy and getting the real energy, and the things which was prophesied in Celestine prophecy, so that we can begin to bring in that. We can begin to get out of the way of that new age and begin to bring in that new earth and allow all of those things. Get her. I'm going to get out of her way and let her take off. Tanya.
Greetings, everyone. Good afternoon. My name's Tanya Love, and welcome to our show. And happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
We're going to delve in and connect on the importance of surrendering the egoic mind, and we kind of touched on that a little bit last week.
But a happy day.
I feel
not
there's
St.
much
Patrick,
more
but
that
happy.
we can go into on ego and the importance of releasing ego at this time, as we're being encouraged to shift in consciousness and
yes,
new places of being, spaces where we can really tune in intuitively and be more present. It's really important that we surrender the old egoic ways of doing things and the old egoic way of basically an attempt to control energy is where it all began. And the reason that many of us are struggling right now on the planet is because we're still really coming from the space of ego where everything's very intellectual, everything's just about your role, your title, what your outer appearances are, like all the parts of you that are in the 3D physical so-called reality. And we're really being encouraged to clear that ego so that we can really be more present. And today, I really encourage you to call in if you have any questions or if there's something in particular that you're struggling with or you're experiencing in your own life, or maybe you're experiencing a lot of beautiful shifts because you've released ego. Please do call in because we'd love to hear from you and talk with you live. It's really fun when we hear from you because this show is for you. So you can either write in right there on the screen if you're logged in, just type in your questions or comments. Otherwise, you can call in to 919-518-9773 and just ask us your questions. So I'll just begin. It came to my awareness this weekend of a book that I read years and years ago, and they've made that book into a movie. It's called The Celestine Prophecy. And if any of you have read that book in the past, I encourage you to go find it and reread it. Because
it'll take me long to find it. I have it right beside me all the time.
James wrote this book years ago, and he basically, it was like he was a visionary of what was coming. And as I'm looking out at what's happening on our planet right now, everything he was writing about, it's happening. And that prophecy is really fulfilling itself. And a big part of his book that I feel is so important is the part where he explains the power struggles that humans have been conditioned into. Kind of their behavioral habits is a way to take energy from each other. And it's because many of us are not connecting with Source directly. We're not understanding how to fill ourselves up, how to reconnect with Source, which is exactly the link to our confidence, to our wisdom, our inner knowing.
Yes.
That connection that is necessary for health and wellness. And so this ability to connect is in all of us. We all have the opportunity and the potential to connect with Source. We all, in fact, are connected to Source. If we're living, if we're breathing, speaking, then we're connected to Source. However, many of us don't realize that. And so we create something in our minds that creates a sense of separation. And so the belief systems that we attach ourselves to, or any of the inner dialogue that tells us that we're less than, that we're not good enough, we're not quite there, we're not worthy yet, these are all examples of the egoic mind. And so when I'm making reference to the ego or the egoic mind, that's what I'm talking about, is that part of yourself internally. Like when I work with clients and a client says,
goes right along with it too,
inside that, tells me these certain things, they refer to it as a dark voice because it feels negative. It's a lower vibrational energy. It's typically focused on fear, and it can be very, very detrimental and damaging to a human's potential, to a soul's full potential of what they're here to give this planet and to share their gifts. And so the reason I feel it's important to address this is for everyone, but I am in the healing world, and as I work with clients, I sense that so many angelic earth angels that are awakening right now, that are feeling led into careers where they will be assisting as a healer or a light worker. They really need to understand the importance of clearing ego, because if we're entering into these situations, into these realms without clearing that ego energy, it can really be damaging to ourselves and to others. And I'll give you an example. This is not really necessarily in the realm of like the healing world, but I do look at physical fitness as an aspect of healing. And I've been a personal trainer and a fitness instructor for 16 years. And I recently was hired as the coordinator for a company and to come in and really to